So basically, if someone is acquiring a primary residence, the typical thing is to come up with a down payment and get a mortgage, right? So down payment can come from cash, savings, could be a liquidation of investments, etc., right? But imagine a scenario, let's do the extreme scenario, where they had enough within savings or investments that they were willing to liquidate that they could purchase the house in cash, right? If they purchased the house in cash and they still had the ability to line up a mortgage, then they could close in cash, immediately refinance, and then pull that money back out. So imagine it's $1 million home. Normally they come up with $200,000 as a down payment, get an $800,000 mortgage, and that's it. And imagine they had, let's just say, the financial reserves to do $1 million down payment. So literally they just buy the house in cash, no mortgage. Then they immediately refinance. This is the logistics. This part of the logistics is what I need to work out a little bit more. But imagine, in theory, they immediately refinance. Maybe it's like the day after close, or I don't know, maybe you can even do it on the same day. I'm not sure. But imagine they refinance, and now when they refinance, they take out $800,000, and now net they've left $200,000 of equity in the home, which is the equivalent of a $200,000 down payment in the normal scenario, and then they have $800,000 left that they now put back into investments. The difference between scenario one and scenario two is scenario one, there's zero preferential tax treatment on the mortgage interest, right? It's your primary residence. You can't write off any portion of the mortgage interest. Scenario two, because they borrowed against an asset, and as long as it was put toward an investment, then the interest on that mortgage is now tax deductible on an ongoing basis. So effectively, it's like a supercharged version of the Smith maneuver. So the $800,000, let's just use ease of math here. $800,000 at 5%, 5% mortgage interest rate, let's just say, would be $40,000 of interest per year, right? $40,000 of mortgage interest per year now is completely tax deductible. So imagine they had a salary, I don't know, $100,000 salary, let's say. $40,000 would be tax deductible, legit tax deductible against their income. So it's $100,000 income that they would be taxed on. They would be taxed on $60,000 of income. So, I mean, let's just say at a 50% marginal tax rate, that $40,000 of mortgage interest turns into a $20,000 tax benefit. So $20,000 less tax they pay. Literally, it's worth $20,000 to them every year to do this. So it's an interesting strategy, and then you start taking variations thereof, because like not everyone is going to have $1 million to close in a house, right? But maybe some savings that they have, and maybe it's like a HELOC that they pull from. A HELOC they pull from. Could be like a parent's HELOC they pull from. A HELOC, either theirs on another property, or like a parent's HELOC or a sibling's HELOC. A HELOC is really good for this because you can pull from the HELOC, use it to close, pay back the HELOC from whoever you borrowed it from. That portion is not tax deductible. The down payment portion, that's the equity portion that's left in the property, is not tax deductible, but anything that's remaining is tax deductible. So yeah, for like our higher net worth clients, this is an interesting strategy. Basically you can think of it as closing cash, then refinance, and then it becomes an incredibly powerful and beneficial tax treatment on an ongoing basis. Right? In this very simple example, $1 million home, this equates to $20,000 a year back in their pocket, essentially. Right? Imagine it's a $2 million home, $2.5 million home. This isn't for everyone. You have to have the financial capabilities to be able to close in cash and then do it. Yeah, so I just thought that this is interesting, and one of those ways that we show that we think about real estate a little bit differently, even for a primary residence. Right? This is, I can't say I came up with this. This is not like a unique, groundbreaking thing. This is really just understanding how taxation works, what you're allowed to deduct, and then applying it in a scenario where most people wouldn't think to apply it, buying at the time of acquisition of your single-family primary residence.